2024 is almost over, so it's actually the perfect time to start planning your finances for 2025. Last year, I shared a simple financial planning template that a lot of people actually liked a lot. I didn't have a lot of subscribers back then, and the video actually did not reach a lot of people, so I wanted to make a refresher video. Whether you have done personal finance planning is irrelevant. What's important is to get you ready for 2025, and I hope this video does that for you. I'll show you the template I shared last year with a few modifications. I hope you use it and set yourself up for success. Let's begin. Before we begin, the template for your financial review and plan is actually in the description for free. Feel free to download it and start planning for 2025. Anyway, let's get to this document. So as you'll see, the document is split into three sections: year in review for 2024, reflection and analysis, and planning for 2025. Let's look at each of the sections one by one. And if you have made a copy of this template, feel free to start working on it immediately. You can pause the video, obviously. So the first section is called Year in Review 2024, and this section is all about numbers. Knowing your numbers is the key to having a deeper understanding of your financial situation. Start by creating a summary that provides a snapshot of your financial health. This contains things like your total income, your total taxes, and even your net worth. Now, you don't have to be incredibly precise with these numbers, but try to come as close as possible to the real values. Also, when it comes to your net worth, I believe that this is a great number to track to actually track your progress overall. It will give you a clear picture of your financial health by subtracting your liabilities from your assets. You might want to fill this out after we have completed the next two tables. And this contains your asset breakdown, basically your investments, savings, emergency fund, your home value, and other things. Then we have your liabilities. That could be any high interest debt such as credit cards. You could also have mortgages, car, taxes owed, and any other thing that you can think of. If you're also using some buy now pay later solutions, don't forget to add those. The next table we have is called the current balance by account types. The accounts mentioned in this table are crucial for financial review and planning. Your retirement savings accounts like RRSP, 401ks, and others are also part of this. Then you also have other accounts such as your first home savings account in Canada or whatever is applicable in your country. Feel free to add any other account that is more liquid in nature and you can quantify. Finally, we look at our expenses. Reviewing total, fixed, and discretionary expenses helps you understand your spending patterns, manage your budget, and plan for future expenses. Once we are done with the first section, we move on to the next one, that is reflection and analysis. This section is focused on thinking about your situation, money choices, and your performance over the past year. Consider this base analysis first. What does money mean to you? Did I make enough money? Did I overpay in taxes? Did I invest enough? Do I have enough savings? I believe these 5 questions are the most important when you're doing your reflection and analysis. In my previous video, I had gone in depth as to why these are so important. Feel free to check out that other video if you really want to understand why these questions are so important. I just want to mention that that video may not be as good as the videos I've made recently, so please forgive me for that. There are also other questions that you can think of. I have listed down a couple of examples over here. Try to use the ones that are applicable to you. The whole section is really up to you, but the next thing we are going to talk about, that is your 3 biggest money mistakes, is something that I've added this year. The reason that I explicitly added 3 money mistakes is because when I do these reflections, I tend to become a little more optimistic about my reflections rather than actually focusing on the mistakes. Through these reflections, you'll find very good things about your finances, but it's also important to understand what are the mistakes that you have made, because those are the things that we actually want to fix in the next section. Anyway, this part is quite simple. Think of the top 3 mistakes you have made this year and make a note of it. These mistakes could include not utilizing your tax accounts fully, or having bought something incredibly expensive, or actually just not planning well for your other expenses. Take the time to reflect and analyze your financial situation and make some notes about yourself. It's going to come in incredibly handy in the next section. Once you have done all this, it's time to look ahead and think about what you want and need to do in 2025. Remember, having a clear and well thought out financial plan is incredibly important to set yourself up for success in 2025. Let's start with setting up a key objective. This is going to be your North Star. This is the key goal you want to set for yourself in this year. This could be something as simple as increase my net worth by 30% or invest 30% of my annual income. Don't try to overcomplicate this, just set a goal for yourself and all the other goals will kind of work around it. Once you have set up your key objective, the next one is to set your top 3 goals. This must be achieved this year. Keep it as straightforward as possible. For example, contribute $1,000 to RRSP every month is one example of this. It could also be something like finding one new source of income. After this, we are going to look at our savings and investment goals. This section outlines your investment and savings targets for the year. By setting specific goals, you can track your progress and make adjustments as needed. While you're doing this, remember to diversify your investments and regularly rebalance your portfolio. This can help you manage risk and achieve your desired returns. So as we have spoken about your top 3 goals and your investments and savings goal, you'll find that there could be some overlap here, but that's totally okay. The next is to make a note of your contribution limits for your tax sheltered accounts. This will basically help you reduce tax in the most legal way possible. For example, in Canada, we have TFSA, RRSP, and FHSA, and each of these have their own contribution rooms. After this, you want to make a note of any big expenses that you are already planning for. By identifying and budgeting for these expenses in advance, you can actually avoid a lot of stress in the future. You can also avoid going off track with your other goals if you are planning for everything in advance. While you're setting your goals and planning for the future, remember to make the goals as smart as possible. Again, this is something that I have gone in depth in my previous video. Feel free to check it out. The final thing we want to kick off in this template is actually to start a checklist. Basically, what do you need to do to stay on track? This is actually going to be an ongoing checklist and you can maintain it wherever you want. However, it's a good idea to start it off here. So that's the whole template that I wanted to cover as a refresher. The best way to use this template is actually to do it once in the beginning of the year or at the end of this year, as we are doing right now. Then you should quarterly revisit this and create a quarterly version of this template. Something I said in the previous video was that remember that this is just a one-page plan to help us envision the steps we need to take and why we are taking them. You might need more planning than just one page. Some simple ways are to establish tracking and planning for separate buckets using various tools. And even though I said you can do this quarterly, feel free to adjust the time period according to your needs. So that was a quick refresher about how you can use a simple template to start planning for 2025. If you found this video useful, hit like and consider subscribing. I'll see you next week in a new video. Till then, keep learning and stay on top of your finances. Until next time.